Hello, I'm Adrian Salbuchi, speaking to you from Argentina once again. In today's short video, I'd like to briefly share several points with you. First and foremost, you will have seen from many of my video messages over the past year or so that I have uploaded onto YouTube that I again and again stress the fact that the growing global conflagration that we are all being sucked into is driven by a very small, very powerful global power elite waging a veritable world war against we the people. No matter what country you live in, this is basically psychological warfare. I mean, sure they can use their untold billions and trillions of dollars against all of us. Sure they can use their high-tech electronic surveillance equipment against us. Surely they have hijacked our government, setting them against we the people. They use their military firepower against us. But above all, they fire their psychological warfare artillery against us day in, day out, hour in, hour out. The mainstream media, the dumbed-down educational system, advertising, propaganda. And when I say global power elite, I mean that small, sophisticated, far-reaching and intricate power network consisting of, first, the global bankers, Rothschild, Warburg, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Citicorp, Lazard, Rockefeller, Harriman, Soros, Bernanke, Greenspan. Second, the military-industrial establishment, Halliburton, Chevron, Exxon, Boeing, General Dynamics, British Petroleum, etc. Third, commerce, the trade and the retailing done by Walmart and Carrefour and Cargill and many, many others. Fourth, the mainstream media, Fox News, the New York Times, Dow Jones, the Wall Street Journal, CNN, Rupert Murdoch, all the guys running the news system. Fifth, the think tanks themselves, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the America Society, the Bilderberg Group, in my country of Argentina, the CARI, the DAIA. Sixth, the lobbies and interest groups, the political action committees, the World Jewish Congress, the B'nai B'rith Masonic Lodge, key embassies, for example in Argentina, the meddling, the constant meddling of the US Embassy, the British Embassy and the Israeli Embassy in the internal affairs of our country. Seventh, ideological stormtrooper organizations like the Anti-Defamation League, AIPAC, the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, FEMA, and many others. Many, perhaps most of the above organizations are centered on Zionist interests, promoting the Messianic state of Israel at all costs in terms of money and blood. If you visit our Second Republic website, the first thing that you will notice is that we say that the foundation of all national sovereignty, freedom, and independence lies inside of you. We define this as personal sovereignty. You see, you cannot strive to have a sovereign nation, community, or society if first its citizens are not themselves personally sovereign human beings. And personal sovereignty requires that, amongst many other things, we ask ourselves certain key questions referring to our basic values. For example, do we all live by the 9 noble virtues of honor, truth, loyalty, discipline, perseverance, work, freedom, bravery, and solidarity? Personal sovereignty is so important an issue because the global power elite need you to be a willing accomplice. They need you to be passive. They need to buy your agreement to doing what they want you to do. They need you to sell your soul to them, literally. They need you to sign, so to speak, a virtual contract in which you say, yes, I will obey the global power elite if you will only let me live and give me some rights. Rights that are yours inalienably. And you don't need the global power elite to give them to you. They're yours. Now, this is a key truth as old as mankind. A German playwright over 200 years ago, Johann Goethe's splendid play Faust, presents us one of the better known examples. A knowledge-thirsty, over-intellectualized university professor who signs a blood contract with Mephistopheles, the devil himself, in exchange for the minor glory of worldly fame and shine, until he finds a way out. Now why, you must ask yourself, why would the devil need anybody to sign a contract with him? Easy. The powers of destruction, the powers of evil in a theological sense, need you to serve them of your own free will. It seems that there's a cosmic ruling that even old man devil cannot override, and that says that his victims must serve him of their own free will. That's an Achilles heel that the global power elite have, and we must exploit it to the utmost. Let's turn now to Hollywood, that great global psychological warfare powerhouse that the global power elite have. Many a key film puts what I've just said, spells it out in plain language for all to see, that you must freely serve the global power elite. And I'm going to give you 3 examples: a tragedy, a comedy, and a drama. Let's start with the tragedy. You probably all remember the 1997 film The Devil's Advocate, in which a young, up-and-coming young lawyer, Kevin Lomax, played by Keanu Reeves, joins a powerful New York law firm, only to discover towards the end of the film that his bizarre boss, John Milton, played by Al Pacino, is the devil himself. Reeves' wife Marianne realizes that way before him, which finally makes her fall mentally ill, physically ill, until she commits suicide. In one of the scenes of the film, John Milton, played by Al Pacino, tells Kevin Lomax, played by Reeves, literally, "Go back to your wife for a couple of weeks. She's sick. She needs you. Take a break from the case you're working on." Reeves thinks about it for a few seconds and says, "No, I will go on with our case." Whereupon Al Pacino, the devil, shrugs his shoulders and says, "Okay, do as you like." In the end, when Al Pacino shows himself as the devil, he reminds Reeves that he was given a choice, and that he chose not to help his wife and instead to support the law firm in that tremendous case of his own free will. Second example, a comedy. Bruce Almighty. It's a 2003 film with Jim Carrey and Morgan Freeman, where Jim Carrey plays a goofy character who is a loser, and he complains to God, and God all of a sudden turns up in a very unpresuming garb and decides to give Jim Carrey almighty powers to teach him how difficult it can be to run the universe. So off goes Jim Carrey, who can do anything he wants, but God, played by Morgan Freeman, tells him, quote, "One thing though, you can't mess around with free will." Okay. So when Jim Carrey wants to get his estranged girlfriend, played by Jennifer Aniston, to love him, she turns around and walks away. Free will. You see, the message from the global power elite through their Hollywood public relations educational channel is crystal clear. All people have a mighty weapon called free will. When you exercise it, you can do just that. Turn around and walk away. And lastly, a drama. The 2006 film V for Vendetta with Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman, amongst others. Here we have a very powerful masked freedom fighter known only as V, who chooses terror psychological warfare tactics to fight a future Orwellian totalitarian society in the United Kingdom. There's a splendid scene where V interferes with all TV signals in Britain and broadcasts a 5th of November Guy Fawkes Day message to we the people, in which he says, and I quote, "Allow me first to apologize for this interruption. I do, like many of you, appreciate the comforts of everyday routine, the security, the familiar, the tranquility, repetition. I enjoy them as much as any bloke. But in the spirit of commemoration, I thought we could mark this November the 5th, a day that is certainly no longer remembered, by taking some time out of our daily lives to sit down and have a little chat. There are, of course, those who do not want us to speak. I think that even now orders are being shouted into telephones, and men with guns will soon be on their way. Why? Because when the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning, and for those who would listen, the enunciation of the truth. And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country, isn't there? Cruelty and injustice, intolerance and oppression, and where once you had the freedom to object, to think and speak as you saw fit, you now have censors and systems of surveillance coercing your conformity and soliciting your submission. How did this happen? Who's to blame? Well, certainly there are those who are more responsible than others, and they will be held accountable. But again, truth be told, if you're looking for the guilty, you need only look in a mirror. I know why you did it. I know you were afraid. Who wouldn't be? War, terror, disease. There are a myriad problems that conspire to corrupt your reason and rob you of your common sense. Fear got the best of you, and in your panic, you turn to the now High Chancellor Adam Sutler, who is an Orwellian future UK dictator. He promised you order, he promised you peace, and all he demanded in return was your silent, obedient consent. In all three of these films, the key that opens the door to free will is a woman. Mary Ann's death in The Devil's Advocate, Jennifer Aniston's temporary rejection of Jim Carrey in the comedy Bruce Almighty, and Evie in V for Vendetta. Not surprisingly, much of what I am saying now in this video was pointed out to me by my own eldest daughter, Eva. By the way, there's also a strange out-of-context scene in the 1997 Devil's Advocate film showing a day-night, ultra-high-speed film of the World Trade Center Twin Towers. A warning, perhaps? So don't deliver up your mind. Don't be a passive collaborator, because doing nothing is exactly what the global power elite wants from you. Passive collaboration. Biblical tradition says that Lucifer shouted his rebellion to high heaven yelling non serviam, which is Latin for I will not serve. In a wicked twist of fate, it is now our duty to turn the table on the evil one and shout back to him, non serviam, we will not serve. Don't be a collaborator. Use your free will. Think with your own mind. Stand up and fight, and do it honorably and valiantly, because personal sovereignty is the first step to founding any Second Republic. Finally, let me brief you up on the Second Republic project, where we are today. First of all, internationally, we are building our Second Republic Project website, www.secondrepublicproject.com, with colleagues in the United States, in Canada, in Costa Rica, and of course here in Argentina. We have posted a series of videos explaining and describing the ideas behind Second Republic, which is a model that can not only be used by all countries, but also on a state level, on a provincial level, on a municipal level, even on a neighborhood level. They also explain, these videos, one by one, the 5 pillars that we need to erect if we are to reconquer our lost sovereignty. And those 5 pillars are: first, restore a sovereign nation state. Second, recover a sovereign currency in each country. Third, reject the debt-based economic and financial system. Fourth, liberate Republican institutions from the stranglehold that money power has over them. And fifth, return to traditional values. The second point is that down here in Argentina, we are working at a much more practical level. We wish to grow our Movimiento por la Segunda República Argentina, which is the Argentine Second Republic movement, into a nationwide political powerhouse. So this year we're trying to obtain the necessary resources to enable us to A, have a Monday to Friday radio program on a strong Buenos Aires-based AM radio station. B, I want to personally visit 15, maybe 20 major cities throughout Argentina, explain the Second Republic project to everybody who wants to listen. And C, we might even have a short 30-minute weekly TV program on cable TV. The strategy being that if we can make a beachhead in Argentina, which is a country not too big, not too small, and far away enough from the major trouble spots of the world, then the Second Republic ideal could propagate from here like a veritable lighthouse in the increasing darkness that is falling over the entire world. As a very humble first step, I am using the proceeds and donations that are emanating from the sale of my new ebook, my first book in English, The Coming World Government, Tragedy and Hope, so that to start funding our joint Movimiento Segunda República Argentina and Second Republic project internationally and here in Argentina. So anybody out there who agrees with what we are trying to do and wishes to help, please purchase my book. It costs $20. You can do that via PayPal as per the details appearing on screen right now. In closing, exercise your freedom. Think with your own mind. Don't give the global power elite your free will. Sooner or later, we are all going to have to make a to be or not to be decision. You either join the global resistance and take your countries back, founding second republics, which is the way to get our sovereignty back, or you just sit back, do nothing, and become a passive collaborator. Remember, however, when things get really bad, and they will, and you try to find out who's responsible for this mess, you will then need only look into a mirror.